Welcome to Trending Unpacked, where we make sense of what the world is searching for.
And this week, it seems like the world is looking for something that just sounds cozy. It sounds like comfort, you know?
It really does. We've been tracking this huge surge in search data, something like a 300% spike, for the term butterskin.
Right. And that's a massive jump.
It is. And my first thought, honestly, was, okay, what product did I miss?
Of course.
Mhm.
Is it a new foundation, a serum?
Exactly. I was picturing some, super specific K-beauty routine with 12 steps, or maybe it was just a new Instagram filter everyone was using.
And that's the interesting thing. It's more sophisticated than that. It's not just one thing. Butterskin is really an aesthetic goal. It's all about achieving a very specific look.
Okay, so what is that look? Paint the picture for us.
It's a complexion that's incredibly smooth, really deeply hydrated, and has this natural radiance to it. Think of the soft, creamy glow of, well, freshly churned butter.
And the key thing here, which all our sources kept coming back to, is that it's luminous, but it's absolutely not shiny.
Yes, that is the critical distinction. It's not wet. It's a glow that has a soft focus quality to it.
Almost like there's a gentle filter on it in real life.
That's a perfect way to put it. It avoids that sharp, mirror-like reflection we saw with a trend like glass skin. This is an embrace of texture, but only a very specific kind of texture plump, silky, and really, really nourished.
So for you listening, our goal today is to really get into this. We're going beyond just the how-to and want to look at how this aesthetic, this mood, really says something about where we are culturally.
Yeah, it feels like a very deliberate shift away from those maximalist, heavily filtered trends. So we're going to break down how to get the look, of course, but more importantly, what this focus on comfort and achievable radiance really tells us about what we value in beauty right now.
Okay, let's start there. Let's unpack the core definition. The language everyone uses to describe butterskin is so sensory.
It is, isn't it? It's all silky, smooth, creamy, velvety.
So what's the actual, visual recipe here? What are we trying to create?
At its core, butterskin is about that silky, smooth texture combined with a really natural, lit-from-within finish. And maybe surprisingly, it's actually a very makeup-driven look.
Oh, that's interesting. I assumed it would be all skincare.
Skincare is the foundation, and it's not negotiable. We'll definitely get into that. But the final look, that soft focus glow, is created with strategic makeup. It's about how you apply it, the formulas you use.
Yeah.
It's all about melting those textures together.
So the finish is the key differentiator. It has to feel velvety.
Exactly, like an expensive fabric, not like a reflective surface. It's demanding two things at once, really.
Which are?
Profound hydration from underneath, so the skin is plump and happy, and then this seamless, beautiful blurring effect on top from the makeup.
And this didn't just appear overnight, right?
Oh, not at all. The dermatologists and makeup artists we looked at all said this has been building for a few years now, so quietly gaining momentum, influenced by that whole skin-first movement.
Right, where makeup is about enhancing, not covering.
Precisely. And also, interestingly, a real nostalgia for those creamy, elegant complexions from the 90s. That clean, polished, slightly diffused look.
I was really fascinated that the sources pointed to the 2025 awards season as the real catalyst, the moment it went from niche to mainstream.
That red carpet validation was everything. It took the trend out of, deep dive TikTok discussions and put it on this huge global stage.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Think of, those like Mikey Madison at the Oscars or musicians like Charlie XCX. They had these complexions that were just undeniably radiant, but you couldn't see the highlighter.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't that streak of shimmer on the cheekbone.
Not at all. It was just smooth, polished. It looked expensive because the skin itself looked so impeccable. It was a real signal that the beauty world was trading in that obvious shine for something more quiet. A creamy, quiet polish.
Okay, but this is where I feel like we need to push back a little.
Go for it.
The philosophy behind butterskin is often sold as being, well, attainable and forgiving. But if the goal is a complexion that looks like quiet luxury, doesn't that just scream expensive products? Or professional treatments? Or, frankly, just having great genes?
That's an excellent and totally necessary challenge to the trend.
How can a look that demands skin be silky smooth be easier to get than a look that's just, wet and shiny?
Okay, so the sources tackle this by making a distinction between the process and the final product. The claim of attainability comes from the fact that it relies so heavily on makeup application for immediate results.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to relying only on a skincare routine that could take months or even years to give you that kind of perfect skin. Glass skin, for instance, kind of demanded you already had flawless skin before you even thought about makeup.
I see. So butterskin is more forgiving because you can use makeup to create that creamy, soft-focused texture almost instantly.
You've got it. It's trading that aspiration for almost clinical biological perfection for the enhanced reality you can get with skillful technique.
So it looks effortless, even if it's not.
Yes. Dr. Gita Yadav, a dermatologist we saw quoted, explains that the look is about appearing moist but not wet. And that specific quality immediately reads as quiet luxury. The super high-shine looks of the past decade almost made you look like you were, perpetually in the middle of a 10-step facial.
Right, like you hadn't blotted yet.
Exactly. But her skin is subtle. It's polished.
Yeah.
And its power is that it looks relatively effortless, even if the technique behind it is actually quite precise.
This feels like a good time to get into the details of how it compares to its predecessors. Because if you're listening, you've probably heard of glass skin, dewy skin, jello skin.
Yeah.
We need to understand the difference.
Yes, let's spend some real time here because the nuance is all in the texture. Let's start with the big one. Glass skin.
Okay, glass skin.
This came out of K-Beauty. And it requires this really exhaustive, multi-layered skincare routine. We're talking multiple layers of thin, watery essences and serums.
All to get that super reflective, almost translucent finish, right?
Right. It's supposed to look a piece of glass, mirror-like,
Yeah.
almost wet. The whole point is that light bounces off the skin with almost no texture getting in the way.
I always picture glass skin as looking cold or icy. It's very precise and angular in my mind.
That's a great way to describe it. It's very controlled, very deliberate. Butter skin is the opposite in so many ways. It's a much simpler skincare routine that's then heavily boosted by makeup to get that soft, creamy, velvety glow.
So it's a diffuse radiance, not a focused reflection.
Perfectly said. It's radiance that actively avoids that sharp, mirror-like quality.
Okay, what about jello skin? That one was everywhere for a minute. That felt different, more structural.
Absolutely. Jello skin, which was a concept from the creator Ava Lee, is less about what's happening on the surface and all about the deep structural health of the skin.
It's about the bounce.
It's all about the bounce, the elasticity, firmness, things you get from your diet, from collagen, from doing intensive facial massage. Jello skin wants your skin to have that spring-back quality. Butter skin is more focused on the immediate surface texture you can see and feel.
And the sources also mention an older K-beauty trend, honey skin. How does that fit in?
So honey skin was really the predecessor to glass skin. It was about using really moisturizing ingredients like propolis and ceramides to mimic the rich golden sheen of actual honey.
So much warmer than glass skin.
Much warmer, very dewy, super nourished. Butter skin shares that nourished feeling, but it shifts the focus away from a specific golden sheen and more toward that general texture-focused softness. Honey can be a little sticky visually. Butter is smoother, creamier.
And lastly, the one that sounds the most intimidating, ultra expensive skin.
Yeah, the name alone tells you it's designed to be unattainable, right?
Pretty much.
And that's basically what it is. It's used to describe the absolute peak of natural perfection. You could call it peak glass skin. It means you have a super strict, high-end skincare regimen. You're getting regular professional treatments like lasers and peels.
All to achieve a complexion that's so flawless it barely needs any makeup.
Exactly. And that's the key difference. Ultra expensive skin is about needing little to no makeup. Butter skin is makeup inclusive. It's built around makeup. Gives you that speed and ease. You can get that buttery glow much, much faster with the right products and application than you can by waiting months for professional treatments to give you a perfect canvas.
So if you're looking for that sophisticated, polished, expensive-feeling look, but you don't want to, remortgage your house for a long-term clinical regimen.
Butter skin is the attainable compromise. It's driven by technique and these really beautiful melting formulas. It's about getting the look of health even when it's enhanced.
Okay, so we've established that makeup is the key to the final look, but we can't skip the foundation, and I mean the literal foundation of the skin itself.
Cannot skip it. Every single dermatologist quoted in the material we looked at was adamant about this. A good canvas is non-negotiable.
Why is that?
Because without a healthy base, all those beautiful cream and liquid products we just talked about, they're just going to cling to dry patches. They'll look uneven, maybe even patchy, and the whole butter effect is just gone.
This brings us right to the science of it all. And the sources kept flagging one thing over and over: skin barrier health.
This is the absolute core of it, and we need to get just a little bit technical here because understanding this is the difference between having a glow that lasts an hour and having skin that's smooth all the time.
So break it down for us. What is the skin barrier?
Okay, so the skin barrier, or the stratum corneum, is the outermost layer of your skin. It's your shield. The best analogy, which Dr. Yadav uses, is to think of it like a brick wall.
Okay, a brick wall.
Your skin cells are the bricks, and the lipids, the fats, are the mortar holding it all together. Or, in her words, the grout.
And what happens when that grout is weak?
Well, when that lipid barrier gets damaged, maybe from overexfoliating or harsh weather, or even just genetics, you get microscopic cracks in the wall.
And things get out.
Moisture gets out really fast. It's called transepidermal water loss. And at the same time, irritants can get in. The result is skin that's dry, flaky, irritated, maybe even red and inflamed. And that rough, uneven surface makes it impossible to get that plump, soft, buttery texture we're after.
So step one, if your barrier is damaged, is to basically repoint the brickwork. You have to replenish those lipids.
Precisely. You have to look for formulas that contain those grout ingredients. The sources specifically call out ceramides and squalane.
I've heard of both of those.
They're fantastic. Ceramides are these waxy lipid molecules that are naturally a huge part of your skin barrier. They literally are the mortar. And squalane, which is the stable version of a substance our own sebum produces, is amazing for conditioning the skin, stopping water loss, and giving this silky emollient feeling. Using those is just fundamental.
Okay, so barrier is repaired. What's next? Intensive hydration. Right, the humectant magnet idea.
Yes. Hydration is what plumps the skin cells from within. It smooths out fine lines and helps create that almost textureless look. And to do that, we rely on humectants.
Which are moisture magnets.
Perfect way to put it. They attract water from the deeper layers of your skin and even from the air around you, and they hold it close to the surface. Hyaluronic acid is, of course, the most famous one.
But the sources also mention some other interesting ingredients like tremella mushroom.
Yes, and this is where it gets really cool. Tremella mushroom, sometimes called snow fungus, is incredible. It might even be a better hydrator than hyaluronic acid because its molecules are smaller, so it can penetrate a bit differently and may hold even more water.
Wow.
But what's really fascinating is its other benefit. It's an adaptogen.
Okay, what does that mean for skin?
Think of an adaptogen as something that helps your body, or in this case, your skin cells, cope with stress. So it's not just treating the symptom, which is dryness. It's making the skin more resilient to all the environmental chaos we throw at it every day.
So you're giving your skin a little resilience, coach.
You totally are. It helps the skin manage its stress responses, which often show up as redness or irritation, all things that damage the barrier and get in the way of that buttery look.
Because we've repaired the barrier, we've hydrated like crazy, but what if there's still some rough texture? You can't put creamy makeup on that.
Right, that seamless application is impossible. So the final prep step is making sure the surface is smooth. This means gentle exfoliation, and I have to stress gentle.
Often.
The general advice is 2 to 3 times a week max. You're just trying to buff away the dead skin cells that are sitting on the surface. For most people who want that glow, a mild alpha hydroxy acid, an AHA, like lactic acid, is perfect. It's gentle, it's hydrating, and it just dissolves the bonds holding those old cells on.
What about for people who are more congested or have oily skin?
Great question. For acne-prone or congested skin, a beta-hydroxy acid, a BHA, like salicylic acid, is a much better choice, or even an enzyme exfoliant.
Why is that?
Because BHAs are oil-soluble. That means they can get down inside the pore lining and clear out gunk from within, instead of just working on the very top layer. You need that clarity for the buttery glow to really come through without looking heavy or clogged.
This brings up a really important point. I know a lot of people listening who have oily or acne-prone skin might hear this and think, this trend is not for me.
Yeah, they're used to trying to mattify everything.
Right. So how accessible is butter skin for them?
It's a huge concern, and the sources are clear that some of the trendy, dewy techniques like slugging, covering your face in Vaseline, are a total hard pass for anyone prone to breakouts.
Of course.
But butter skin is still achievable. The key is to focus on non-comedogenic, lightweight formulas. If you have oily skin, you need to use water-based products, gel moisturizers. You want all that deep hydration without any of the heavy occlusive ingredients sitting on top.
So it's about finding that balance between luminosity and oil control.
It's all about strategy. You look for ingredients like omega fatty acids or squalane,
Yeah.
but in a really light formula. And then, when you get to the makeup phase, you use mattifying powder very strategically.
How so?
Only in the T-zone. You powder where you get shiny, but you leave the high points of the face, like the cheekbones, luminous. That way you keep the buttery look where it matters, but you control the grease where it starts.
Okay, last question on the prep work. For someone who wants to maybe jumpstart this process, what about professional treatments? Did the sources mention any that can help refine that canvas?
They did. Several treatments are fantastic primers for this look because they hit texture and hydration at the same time. The hydrofacial is a big one.
What does that do?
It's this multi-step process that uses a special tool to exfoliate, extract impurities, and then infuse the skin with potent hydrating serums and antioxidants. You leave looking instantly plumper and smoother. It's like a total reset.
So it creates that perfect clean slate.
It really does. Then there's something like dermaplaning.
That's with the blade, right?
Yeah, a specialized blade is used to gently remove the top layer of dead skin cells and also all that fine vellus hair, the peach fuzz.
And taking that off makes a big difference for makeup application.
A huge difference. Makeup just glides on so much more smoothly. It directly contributes to that buttery, soft focus finish. Then for something a bit more intensive, there's microdermabrasion, or even oxygen facials, which blast the skin with oxygen and serums for a quick plumping boost. It all just helps make that base flawlessly smooth so the cream products can do their job.
All right, we have built the foundation, the canvas is prepped. Now we have to talk about the artistry, because this is where that velvety finish is either made or, completely lost.
This is the magic step. The entire makeup philosophy is about a seamless second skin blend.
No cakiness, no chalkiness.
Zero. The finish has to be in that perfect sweet spot, not too matte, not too shiny. And the rule, according to all the sources, is to stick almost exclusively to cream and liquid formulas.
For everything.
For all your color products. Foundation, blush, bronzer, highlighter. All creams or liquids.
And the reason is that they connect with the skin better.
Exactly. Powders can just sit on top of the skin. They can look chalky or settle into fine lines, and that immediately disrupts the buttery texture we worked so hard to create with the skincare.
Whereas creams are designed to melt in.
Right. They have an emollient quality that mimics your skin's own moisture. I mean, the marketing language even says it melts like butter, creamy and buttery. The goal is for the product to literally become one with your skin, so the color looks like it's coming from within, not sitting on the surface.
Okay, so you start with a hydrating primer, a light to medium coverage foundation with a satin finish, and then you build with creams. What about the actual application? Because the technique seems critical.
Technique is everything here. Rule number one is light layers. Build your coverage and color up gradually. Don't go in with a huge amount of product at once.
And rule number two?
The blending tool. This is so important. You have to blend with either a damp sponge or with your fingertips.
Why those specifically?
Because they press the product into the skin rather than just smearing it around on top. It helps you get that true second skin effect without creating streaks.
And there was a warning from one of the makeup artists in the sources about a really common mistake.
Yes, Lisa Chamberlain.
Yeah.
She warned against overblending or using too heavy a hand. If you press too hard or you use a brush to buff and buff and buff,
You just lift the product right off.
you either lift it off or you create friction that makes it look patchy. You have to gently stipple or press the products in. The goal is to get that flawless finish while keeping the creamy color where you want it.
You're trying to integrate it, not scrub it away. That makes total sense. Okay, and setting it, you can't just throw a bunch of powder on top and ruin the whole thing.
Absolutely not. The setting phase is all about precision. You use a very fine translucent powder and you just lightly dust it only where you absolutely need it.
So under the eyes to stop creasing.
And in that T-zone we talked about to control any excess shine that might pop up later. The rest of the face, especially the cheeks and high points, should stay fresh and luminous. And the final step is a good hydrating setting spray.
To melt it all together.
Fuse all the layers, take away any last hint of a powdery look, and just lock in that signature creamy glow.
Okay, let's connect all of this, the prep, the application, to the bigger cultural picture. Because the sources are pretty clear that this isn't just a new technique.
Oh.
It's a reaction. It's a retreat from heavy glam.
It is 100% a response to burnout. We've just spent years saturated in these heavy filters, this harsh maximalist glam that was, well, it was demanding. It was exhausting to keep up with.
The term butter feels so intentional.
Oh, it's a powerful emotional signal. It makes you think of softness, warmth, comfort, nourishment. In a world that feels pretty chaotic and stressful, there's a huge cultural appeal to seeking out comfort in your aesthetics, even in something as subtle as the finish of your foundation.
It's about prioritizing the feeling of being well over the illusion of being perfect.
The visual equivalent of putting on a cashmere sweater instead of something restrictive and complicated.
Yeah.
It's just the entire mindset to be skincare first, even if makeup is the final tool. The question is no longer, how well can I hide my skin? It's how beautifully can I enhance my skin's health?
And it's fascinating how platforms like TikTok just redefine beauty language so quickly. We went from the sharp, sugary gloss of the glazed donut
to the diffuse, soft warmth of butter. And that sensory language is what makes these things go viral. People connect with tactile, relatable ideas.
But there is some skepticism online.
Right. Of course. And critics rightly point out that a lot of this is just rebranding good, basic skincare and careful makeup application, which is true. But the enthusiasm for what feels like achievable beauty is undeniable. It shows that people are craving aesthetics that feel less like a performance.
And more like a gentle, attainable version of their everyday selves.
Exactly. And the sources also praised how inclusive this trend can be, because the focus is on maximizing your own natural radiance and just smoothing the surface. It works across different ages, different complexions, different skin tones.
Right. It's not chasing some hyper-specific, poreless, youth-focused ideal.
Not at all. And that goes back to the attainability. Since the goal is this diffuse, nourished look, It's inherently more forgiving of texture and pores and fine lines than the mirror finish of glass skin ever was. It's really about enhancing that feeling of comfort, not masking who you are.
Okay, so this is where we pull it all together. Why this trend? Why now? Why is the world suddenly searching for softness and creamy comfort over that slick, icy precision we've seen before?
I think this gets to the core psychological shift. It's a direct appeal to the comfort aesthetic.
Mm.
We've been through this long cycle of digital maximalism. Everything had to be louder, brighter, more filtered, more contoured, and there's just a collective exhaustion with that.
A digital and emotional exhaustion.
For sure. Butterskin is a visual retreat from that noise. It's a representation of slowing down, of prioritizing what feels nourishing and warm and healthy.
So it's a rejection of that hyper-perfection from the filter era, the flawless, poreless skin that was, let's be honest, mostly achieved digitally.
It demanded a level of perfection that was alienating for most people. Butterskin, on the other hand, asks for presence. It wants your skin to feel and look genuinely healthy and plump. All the analysis we read emphasize this idea that it's effortless, not perfect.
It lets your real skin show through.
It does, provided the base is well cared for. It's an embrace of an enhanced reality, not a filtered fantasy.
So if we look at this as a long-term shift, is Butterskin just another catchy label that's going to disappear in 6 months?
Yeah.
Or is this focus on softness and barrier health a real lasting change in our values?
The label itself, it'll fade. All these specific names do. But the principles underneath it, I think those are here to stay. The shift is already happening. Look at the products being launched. It's all lightweight, coverage-tinted moisturizers, serum foundations, oil serum hybrids, and more importantly, that foundational focus on barrier repair and deep hydration. Those are just fundamentals of good skin health, no matter what we call the look next year.
So the cultural expectation has changed. We've moved past thinking that skin has to be totally covered to be considered beautiful.
We're prioritizing the health of the stratum corneum, that skin barrier, over the amount of pigment we put on top of it. And that's a huge marker of a value shift. It shows that the collective beauty conversation has moved its investment from high-coverage makeup to high-quality, barrier-supporting skincare.
It's an investment in what's underneath.
It really is.
So we hope this exploration gives you the language to understand what's happening. It's not just a beauty routine. It's a sign of a real shift in cultural priorities. It's not about hiding. It's about enhancing that feeling of comfort to get a luminous, velvety finish that feels authentic and actually attainable.
And in a world that can feel pretty harsh sometimes, a collective move towards something softer and more nourishing. That feels like a really positive thing.
Thank you for joining us for this in-depth exploration of the source material. Considering the rapid cycling of beauty trends and their reliance on sensory, comforting, food-based language from glazed donuts to butter, what is the next everyday food item that might inspire the world's next sought-after complexion? We'll let you mull on that one.
Until next time.
Next time on Trending Unpacked, we're heading into the holiday season with a twist unpacking Christmas villains, the characters who made festive films unforgettable for all the wrong reasons.